Hello and welcome back to Beckler Guitars and Repairs. Today we're checking out a Gibson Firebird. Alright, let's take a look. I had to go for a bit of a drive for this one. Okay, so here we have a Gibson Firebird. It's 2016. I think, yeah, they were designated Firebird Ts in that year. And yeah, this one, it needs a bit of work. So I went and picked it up and tried it out, and it was a little bit worse shape than I was expecting. But we were able to negotiate on a price, so I picked it up. And what's really cool is I really like the Firebirds that have the Steinberger tuners, like the banjo tuners. They just work really well. They stay in tune great. And I really like the straight pull. So on like Firebirds, on Les Pauls, sometimes you have the break angle of the strings versus the nut. They're going off at like a 45-degree angle. On a Firebird, it's nice and straight. So that really helps with tuning stability. It looks like one of the strings is in the wrong nut slot there. There we go. And I'm not sure what's happening with that one string there. But yeah, anyway, it's pretty dirty. It needs a cleaning. The frets appear to be in decent shape. This fingerboard definitely needs a good cleaning. Our Firebird logo is pretty faded. Not much we can do about that, but and it does have a few chips in the finish here. So looks like the wood's not damaged, but the finish has been chipped right through in a couple spots. There. Some more on the sides. There. And a couple more. However, I noticed that all of the chip spots are in the black, like in the burst. So, yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and repair these chips in this video, and I'll show you how to do that drop fill method. And then clean it up, set it up. We'll have a check at the electronics and the pickups to make sure everything's original. Then we'll give it a setup, and then we'll plug it in and check it out. So, all right, let's get it fixed up first. So let's get it on the bench and have a look. Here it is on the bench here. I just want to go over just a quick and easy drop fill technique. Now, I have all these fancy stains and stuff for fixing wood. Like if there was a big chip here, I have stuff that I could do to match the color. It's a lot of different stuff that's a little trickier to use, but for stuff like this is just what I want to focus on today. So this is a chip right in the black area of the burst. So this is really easy to color match because it's black. And we're just going to do a quick drop fill with stuff that everybody has. And there's an important way that you do it right, because you can make things a lot worse if you're not careful. So I like to use a fresh tube of crazy glue. Crazy glue, in my experience, works pretty well with nitro finishes as long as you keep it right in the area where it needs to go and it doesn't move around. If you get this anywhere on the finish other than the chip, if you accidentally spread some, or a little line goes somewhere, or you squirt some somewhere, you're not going to be able to get it off the finish. So be very careful. Alright, so because it's black, I'm just going to use a big black marker. This is a permanent jumbo marker. I'm just going to fill that ding all over just so the colors match. Then I'm just going to make sure I get anything on the outside of the ding cleaned up. So there it is. A little bit more. Make sure all those pores are covered. Okay, so that looks pretty good. You can use India ink for this as well, or any kind of coloring permanent solution. So that looks good. And now, we're not trying to make this perfect, so this is just to seal these chips. So what happens is if you get moisture in these cracks or dings, it can expand the wood and lead to more problems, more cracks, lots of stuff. So it's important to at least seal them. We're not going to make these cosmetically perfect. So, okay. I'm just going to put a few drops of super glue in there. And there we are. And that's it. That's all we're going to do for that. Now you want to give it ample time to dry. If you're putting a fingerprint in there, you're going to get a weird mark on there. It's not going to dry as nice and clear and level as it should be. So do give it a good amount of time. I would say, you know, for the amount of glue that you're putting in there, maybe an hour at least, just to make sure you're not disrupting it. And also any sort of like hair follicles or dust or anything that falls in there when it's wet is going to show as well. So just be careful with that. Yeah, so that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to do just little drop fills for all these chips just to make sure that they're all sealed. And, I'm going to go ahead and do that for the rest of the dings on here. I think we got about 5 or 6 that we're dealing with, and then I'll show the end result when I'm done. I've done all my drop fills and waited for them to dry, and I just want to get a good look at what they look like to show you the results you can expect to achieve in this method. So if you look right here, that was a really gnarly one, and right now it looks it looks good. It's nice and smooth. It's sealed, and it's not very noticeable. You got to be really close to see it, and it's not as stark as the black and the big mahogany piece that was showing before. And I'll show a few more that I've done here. So in this area there was a few more. You can kind of see them there. And over here there was a bigger one. And yeah, so I was just very careful with the glue. Make sure nothing got out of the areas where I wanted it to, and I waited the appropriate amount of time for it to dry before messing with anything, and yeah, it worked out quite nicely. In the back there was quite a few little chips and dings here too. There was a larger area there. You can see it's nice and smooth now. And just over here in a few spots. But yeah, I'm happy with the way they all turned out. They're smooth, they're sealed, and they're harder to see now. You can see them when you get really close, but I mean, they're not terrible, and yeah, they're definitely a lot better than they were before. Okay, I just want to quickly mention again how to use these tuners. So you do all the tuning from the bottom with these knobs here. So the tops are actually just like locks to lock the string in place. So to change the strings, you raise them all the way up. So tighten them all the way from the bottom, and that will lift the posts up. And then you can unlock them by turning this counterclockwise. That'll unlock the lockers from holding the string. And then to restring them, it's just a reversal of that process. So you put the string in, you lock it down, and then you lower the post, and then as it lowers, the string tension will increase on the string, and that's how you tune it as well. Okay, here it is. The string's all off and all cleaned up and polished. I ran the frets through the fret buffer too, so it's looking a lot better now than how we first got it. It was filthy, and yeah, all those chips have been filled and smoothed. So yeah, it looks good. Let's go ahead and get some specs now. Alright, so it's weighing in at 7 pounds, 6.7 ounces. Okay, here's the neck profile. So it's a pretty standard C-shaped neck profile. It flattens out a little bit by the 12th fret, but pretty standard C shape. Alright, we got our nut width of 1.69, and at the 12th, 2.07. Depth at the first fret is 0.794, and at the 12th, 0.848. A little bit of a slimmer neck. Yeah, if you're comparing it to like a 50s or a 60s, it's more of the 60s. So it's a little bit narrower than some, and a little bit slimmer as well. So kind of a fast feeling neck. Okay, we're just going to get some readings from the pickups. So our multimeter set at 20K, and our neck pickup is reading 15.56, and our back pickup is showing 19.94, just a flash there of that reading. These are the ceramic mini humbucker pickups, the 495R and the 495T. And sometimes it's a little tricky to read these pickups for some reason. But yeah, I just confirmed that they're working. I plugged them in, so I'm not sure why it's not reading properly. It's probably a ghost. Okay, I just want to show the truss rod and just overall how nicely this guitar cleaned up, because it came pretty dirty. I also ran the frets through the polisher, the buffer, and yeah, now they're like mirror shiny and super smooth. There's our Tectoid nut. That's the self-lubricating Gibson nut. There's a look at our nice rosewood fingerboard and our super shiny frets. And aside from the repaired dings, it's in pretty good condition. Not a lot of major scratches or scuffs. Some light finish scuffs here and there. But yeah, overall, this guitar is in not bad shape. And let's have a look at the back here. So how they make Firebirds is pretty cool. They so let's start at the neck. The neck is a 9-piece neck, so it's mahogany, walnut, mahogany, walnut, mahogany, walnut, mahogany, walnut, mahogany. And so that this is all one piece of wood that continues on all the way through the body. So this centerpiece is actually part of the neck as well. And that's what they mean by through neck guitars. That means the neck is actually the body. It's all one big solid piece. And then they put on another one-piece mahogany piece for the treble side and another mahogany piece for the bass side. So the body is 3-piece, but the neck goes all the way through to the neck to the end of the body. So that's kind of a cool way of making guitars. It's supposed to provide really nice sustain, so this whole thing kind of vibrates as one piece of wood. But yeah, nothing on the back for major scratches or anything like that. Also in quite nice condition. And we can have a look at the repaired dings a little bit back here in the light. And you can only see them if you're super close and looking. And they turned out quite nicely. Yeah, okay, so next step is we're going to go ahead and restring this thing and then give it a setup. Check the setup and then we'll plug it in and see how it sounds. And here's a quick look at our bridge. So it's just an unbranded standard Nashville style bridge. And here's our tailpiece. It says Advanced Plating Incorporated on the back, and it's full weight. And just one more quick reminder how to put these strings in. So you unlock the top, put the string through, pull it tight, then you lock it. You don't have to be too tight, but just make sure it's locked. Yeah. And then you're going to cut the string at about 1/8 inch above, so you have a little bit of room there. And then to tune it, you just pull, you just turn the knob at the bottom, and that increases the tension up to tuning pitch. Alright, I made a bit of a mistake. So I had already put the strings in and locked them into place, and then I realized I hadn't shut off the pickups of the pickup cavities. So the problem is that the string, once you put it through, you lock it so it's tight, and you only have enough room, so much room down here. So I managed to sneak the neck pickup out, so we can have a look at that. So it just says Rhythm Firebird with a date, which is 2016. And there's our neck pickup route. It looks nice and clean. You can see it's just one big piece that's connected to the neck and into the body. And then in here, it says DSF. Here, let me have a little bit of a better look there. DSF 10. And the route looks nice and clean. And just don't have enough room to get that bridge pickup out. But I'm sure it's exactly like this. It says, probably says LED for lead Firebird with the same date. So now I'm going to sneak that back in there, but here's our switch and the route, so all looks pretty standard. We just did an Explorer video. They do Explorers like this too, where they make this whole route just for this switch. It's kind of silly. You think they would just make this route and then just a hole with a long drill bit or something, but hey, that's how they do it. And we'll have a look at the back cavity now. Alright, here's a look at our control cavity. So yeah, the routes all look really nice and all original pots. Those are our Gibson branded full-size pots. And there's our standard Switchcraft output jack. And they're using these little blue capacitors during this year. It's all hand wired. So yeah, everything looks stock and looks good. Alright, let's go ahead and finish the restring and the setup. Okay, so we're all restrung and set up here. I just want to show the setup really quickly. So here is our action, our relief in the neck rather. So if you can see, there's just the slightest little gap between the notch straight edge and the fingerboard. And that's kind of how you want it. And then here at this part of the neck, you can see when I finger that third fret, the action at the first fret, you see the string just resting almost against that first fret. That means the nut is cut correctly and the relief in the neck is set nicely. So as long as there's no buzz, that's the best action you can get right here in the first couple of frets. With our millimeter gauge, that our low E is about 1.5, maybe a little higher to 2-ish, but 1.5-ish. And on the high E, we're at like 1 to 1.5-ish, so quite low. So yeah, quite nice low action. And there's no fretting out, which I will show. All right, so nice low action, no fretting out anywhere, and yeah, plays really nicely. So we're gonna go ahead and plug it in and see how it sounds. All right, here we are all plugged in. So I'm plugged into the Deluxe Reverb reissue. I'm using a PS1 Power Soak by Bugera. And I'm just using a little boost pedal, the Tauros servo pedal. And here's the guitar. We're at about 5 right now, 5 for treble, 5 for bass, 2.5 for reverb. And I'm miking the amp with an SM58. So we're gonna try some clean and then a little bit more overdrive and see how it sounds. So yeah, these pickups are so high output, they're really pushing the amp even at that lower volume. So we're getting a little breakup already, but it's all right. Bridge. I'm gonna use some strums now. So yeah, they sound great clean. They really push your amp, so you got to be nice and low to get any sort of clean sound. But I'm impressed with that middle position. It sounds almost stratty. Plenty of twang in the bridge. And then in the neck, it's nice and dark. All right, let's try it with a little bit more dirt. All right, here's the bridge. Neck. middle position. Position. Alright, so now that we've fixed the chips and tore it apart, showed them the insides, and gave it a setup and a restring, and plugged it in, tried it out, what are my final thoughts on the Firebird? Wow, this is great. I've always been partial to Firebirds. I think they look really, really cool. And I really like the construction. I really like the through neck, the one-piece neck and body idea. I feel like it really does sound great for sustain and stuff like that. I really like the Steinberger tuners. They work great. They're efficient locking tuners, and it's nice to have a nice clean headstock without stuff hanging off, and tune it in the back. They stay in tune really well too. And yeah, I've been looking for a good Firebird for a long time, and I think I might just have to keep this one because usually I don't like the pickups. These are the ceramic 495R, 495T pickups, and although other ones I've played, I don't know if I didn't have them dialed in right or what, but I just didn't gel with them. I didn't like them. But these, I gotta listen to the recording, but it sounded like it sounded really good. And yeah, It plays great. I really like the feel of the neck. It's very comfortable. And yeah, the action is nice and low, as I usually like it. And it's comfortable to play. It feels like a little bit like it's long up here, like an Explorer, but not as bad because the angle's not as bad. So you can kind of choke up on a little bit more in your lap. You kind of put it wherever you want. And it's comfortable to play. Yeah, I really like it. And those chips really did turn out really well. I don't know if you'll be able to see here quickly, but like there's a little ding there that I repaired, but you can only see it up close, and it's nice and smooth, and it's not ugly in my opinion. It's not jarring either. It used to be like a big, you know, mahogany spot right there that really contrasted with the black, and they're not there anymore. They just blend right in, and you can only see them if you're really looking for them. And it just provides a little bit of character to this guitar. It looks, you know, worn without being abused. Yeah, this is great. I don't think, yeah, Gibson doesn't currently have Firebirds in their lineup, so they're kind of going crazy in value right now. I'm sure they'll release another version soon. Yeah, these 2016 Ts, they're great. They got nice specs. They got hand-wired pots, nice electronics. These pickups sound great. And as far as QC issues go, I can't find anything wrong with the guitar. There's not a lot of tooling marks. All the binding looks great. We had to buff up the frets, but they were in really good condition. Not a lot of wear. Truss rod's good. Yeah. If you can find one of these 2016 Ts for a decent price, I would say go for it. I might just have a good one, but this guitar pretty impressed me. And yeah, we've got a pretty good streak going. I haven't had a lot of bad guitars lately. I'm sure they'll come. It's just a matter of time. But this one is nice. I would definitely recommend it. All right, well, thanks for tuning in today to Beckler Guitars and Repair, and we're going to have more for you really soon. I'm thinking about putting in a 4-way switch in my telly, so we're going to make a video about that. All right, have a good one. See ya.